My interest in Cuba goes back for over 50 years, although I haven't done anything about it until the last few. In 1960, I was at West Palm Beach, Florida, visiting family. And if you remember, the Cuban Revolution had just been culminated with the establishment of Fidel Castro as the new leader of Cuba. A lot of the Cubans were actually persecuted during the revolution because of their loyalty to the dictator Batista, whom the United States government had supported, by the way. And others were just simply afraid because they had no idea. It was not a peaceful revolution. Revolutions rarely are. And they were afraid, understandably so. And so they were taking every chance they had to get out. The movement had just begun in '60. Well, I was curious. I was only about 90 miles away from Miami, and that's where the people were beginning to come in from Cuba. And so I took a break from visiting with the family and decided to go down and check it out. I was curious. I've always been curious about things like this. I contacted Norca Fejo, a Cuban Methodist director of Christian education. And Norca went with me around to, at that time, as far as I know, the one hotel where the refugees were coming in. And we met Raul, a short, stocky fishing boat captain. And he told me a story. I've told this story before, but I need to tell it again in light of what's happening currently. He told it in detail, and I will shorten that part of it, but the essence of it is that he invited some 42 Cubans to come on board, ostensibly to go fishing. And they had just brought sack lunches. And once they got on board, he headed out to the fishing fields and then just kept on going. Now, he told me that he knew from his navigation charts or whatever information, he knew where the U.S. submarine fields were, and so he charted a course directly through them. I thought that was kind of strange, until he told me that one of the submarines surfaced, because they knew what was going on about the revolution and people fleeing, of course, and the submarine surfaced, gave the refugees food and water, and directed them on their way to Miami. As he's telling me this story, and I'm pretty well following it with Norca translating it, all of a sudden he gets real animated and rattles off something in that fast Spanish that Cubans speak. I said, Norca, what's he talking about? Because he's talking directly to me. Norca said, he said that he's going back tomorrow to get more refugees. Do you want to go with him? And I thought, no, I don't think so. That was 1960. I knew a little bit about the embargo that actually started under Eisenhower and has been in place ever since, including the present. A trade and travel embargo that keeps American citizens from doing business or traveling legally in the country of Cuba. And I've been opposed to it. In the last several years, there are some people in Colorado Springs, and we've become interested in doing our bit to help see that the embargo is lifted through nonviolent protest. And so we made connection with the Pastors for Peace, a group that's been doing this for over 20 years, that's been collecting aid in buses and trucks and taking them down through the United States into Mexico, down to the port city of Tampico, where they put the aid on the freighters, and then the group flies over and spends a week or so in Cuba, getting to know the Cuban people, getting to understand the culture and the government, etc. The embargo I have known for a long time is unjust. I think it's immoral, and it's also ineffective. And so that's the reason that I stay involved in it. I'm not Cuban, not Cuban American. As far as I know, I have no relatives or close friends who are Cuban or Cuban American. But my concern for the whole situation is probably mainly twofold. One is, I don't see the sense, and I am incensed at not being able to establish open, friendly relationships with a small country that's only 90 miles from our border and poses no threat, militarily or politically threat, to our country. It's only about 11 million people in the whole country. And as an American citizen, while I'm concerned about them and I want to do everything I can to help us open the borders and make friends, as an American citizen, I don't understand why my country prevents me from traveling legally to Cuba. Has had no threat to us when I can travel to any other country in the world, including possibly North Korea, without any liability. The Magna Carta has a paragraph 42, that says, in essence, that the citizen, talking about England of course, that citizens should be allowed to travel freely abroad to any other country, to travel to and from unharmed and without fear. And that was 800 years ago. If England could do that, have that official policy 800 years ago, I don't understand why the United States, an open, free, democratic society committed to the principles of freedom, prevents me as an American citizen with no criminal record not to travel freely to a place where the people are poor, but friendly, well-educated, and wanting to be friends. The award that is mentioned below in the text is one that I've gladly received on behalf of a small group of people in Colorado Springs who continue to see this as a civil rights issue. And I hope that I'll hear from you. I hope that you'll become a part of it in one way or another to do your part to help see that this blockade is lifted and that one day we can have free and open exchange between two countries who have so much in common, and we have so much possibilities that lie ahead of us. I hope to hear from you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, and I ask that you peruse the text very carefully.